Hello, everybody. My name is Luke Alexander. I'm the founder and CEO here at Kendo. We are the #1 AI sales enablement platform for fast-growing sales teams. So in this video, I'm going to give you a simple promise, which is by the end of this, I'm going to show you why you're more than likely training the wrong way. And again, what does a 26-year-old know about sales training? Well, we trained 5,000 sales reps. Our record for a week worth of a launch of sales management that we did for 60 reps was about $4.5 million. And we have done sales enablement, sales management, and worked with and staffed sales teams all the way from SMB all the way to billion-dollar enterprises. So we know a thing or two, and AI has changed this landscape a lot. It's changed very quickly, and more than likely, if you are not on the cutting edge of AI, you might be a little bit behind on best practices for training, ramping up, giving sales reps repetition and things of that sort. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. So there's really three main areas that I want to focus on for training. Okay, you have the cost of training, you have the repetition that you're able to give to reps in training, and then you have obviously the effectiveness of that training. Training is a word, doesn't mean anything if it's not effective and if it's not translating to a better close one ratio or better cash collected or whatever the metrics you optimize for are. Most sales teams train in a couple of ways. One, it's going to be some sort of group coaching or like a shadowing or something like that. Maybe they watch call recordings, which is great, but a little bit. And then maybe if they're doing what most people do, they're going to be role playing with each other, with like a coworker or a manager or something like that. Now, the problem is there's not a lot of repetition there. It's not tracked, it's not recorded, it's not really scored. There's no, controlled variable of how good was this training? Like, can we even define what good means in training? And it doesn't necessarily translate into them actually getting better, closing more deals, having a better close rate, wasting less leads, things like that. And we've experienced this with ourselves. We've hired hundreds of sales reps for ourselves and for other teams that we've managed in the past. Yeah, we probably didn't train them as much as we should have. And it's not really your fault, it wasn't our fault. It's because there wasn't a good solution. You had to have usually like a 1:5 or 1:7 ratio of manager to sales rep. So if I have 7 sales reps, I can have 1 manager, maybe, if they're really good. Any more than that, we have to hire another manager, which wasn't necessarily efficient. Managers cost a lot. It wasn't the best way to scale. But now there's this thing called AI role play, which is insane. And if you have a good role play, it's basically the real thing. And I know it sounds crazy. Some of you watching this video might be, hey, AI can never, simulate a conversation. You would be surprised. You should go try our free trial on Kendo and go role play, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's quite realistic. But before we get into that, the problem with the current way you're doing things, if any of those fall into the category of which you guys do, group coaching, a little bit of shadowing, call review of watching calls, and maybe some role play, is it's not realistic, okay? You role playing with a coworker is not realistic. The coworker knows, it's just not the real thing. And obviously you always want to make practice as realistic as possible. The best sports teams practice like it's a game, okay? Whether it be football or soccer or NBA or whatever you watch, you have to make it realistic or it doesn't apply. Number 2 is a lack of time. Managers are oftentimes undertooled, understaffed, under-resourced, especially in the environment we live in now with AI. Therefore, they don't have the time to be getting on a call with every single one of your sales reps, role-playing, shadowing, doing everything they need to do. And that leads to your reps being undertrained, underperforming, not having the amount of resources behind them that they actually need to perform their best. And then number 3, this isn't necessarily a training, although it does affect it, is managers don't have time to review calls. If you don't have time to review your live sales calls, how are you going to review training? You're not. If you ask yourself right now, how many hours of calls a week do your managers review? How many calls does your management team review in training? Do you know what your training stats are? Probably not. It's very difficult to do. So your reps aren't getting the training they need. You don't have enough time. Managers are way too busy. They don't have enough time. And it's just this negative spiral of not going where we want it to go. Now let's get into the cost of these things. Cost is multifaceted, okay? We have the cost of what is a lost lead or a burned deal because of a lack of training. Well, it totally depends on your industry. If you're running paid ads, $500 per booked call. Leads are probably $30 to $50 depending on your industry. Again, are you willing to sacrifice that to give reps at bats and repetition and just burn the leads and torch the leads and torch your reputation? That's what most people do right now, which is absolutely crazy. Then you have the cost of ramp. What is the actual cost of ramping up a sales rep to KPI or to production? How long is that time period? Is it 3 3, 6, 9 months. How many managers have to be in the loop for that to happen, to get enough repetition for them to get to production and to get to the skill level they need to be? What does that cost? Typically, and you can Google this, I think the average cost of ramp up is getting close to like $50,000 or something, $100,000. Again, depends on the industry. Sales is so broad. You have enterprise and SMB and insurance and all these different things. But it is quite expensive, and it's only getting more expensive as rep churn increases. And as AI becomes this thing and starts to replace other departments, more pressure and more resources get taken away from sales, which further exacerbates this problem. So your reps are undertrained. You are paying a lot and losing a lot, both on the ramp up and the lost leads, to actually get them the at-bats and the repetition and the ramp up that they need, and your managers don't have enough time to review calls. Now, there are tertiary problems within this. I don't want to make this whole video as all the problems happening in your sales team, but if you're not reviewing calls, you don't know the objections you're missing. You don't know the competitor mentions that are coming in. You don't know, the product problems or maybe the marketing problems that are coming into your funnel because of these things. These are all problems that spawn from a lack of training, a lack of proper ramp up, a lack of repetition, and a lack of call review. Now, how have we solved this? We dog food our own product. So Kendo can review all of your calls fully custom. So if you give me, hypothetically, you were like, hey, we sell complex cybersecurity, we're an MSP platform or something. Awesome. You're going to give us your documentation. We're going to train the model on how you sell, on the methodology in which you sell, whether it's BANT, MedPick, consultative, it doesn't matter. Any industry, any style, it literally does not matter. And now all of your calls are going to be auto-scored, auto-reviewed. Coaching and feedback is going to be given to your reps, perfectly custom to you and your business. It is not a blanket one size approach. Kendo actually is fully custom for each business. So if you sell wildly different than Bobby and John sells wildly different than Timmy, everybody's scoring is fully custom. Meaning, not only is your scoring custom, it's accurate. It is as accurate, if not better, than your best sales manager. So that's the call review side. Now, why is that important? If hypothetically we could review our training and our live calls with the same scoring methodology, would that not give us a better measurable benchmark on how good we are and what we suck at and what we need to get better at? It would. And no one does that except for Kendo. This is our bread and butter. So your live sales calls and your AI roleplay calls, where you're role-playing against our AI bots, are scored with the same custom methodology that you create. So I can score a training call, a practice cold call that's a role play, it's AI. I can score that with the same scorecard that we apply to our real cold calls coming out of our CRM. That gives you a lot of visibility into what's going on. Now, the other benefit of that, again, what were the problems here, is a lack of repetition and the cost. Cost is really the factor at the end of the day for everything. If I can spend 55 or $100 on a seat, which is what Kendo is, on a rep, I don't spend any money on leads anymore, or booked calls, or wasted deals, or churned pipeline, or the reputation hit that my company gets. So you can literally role play with AI 10 times the repetition that you currently do with the live calls, and you don't spend money on leads anymore. You don't burn calls. You don't waste and have all these problems that come from that. So instead, we have started giving AI role play to our reps. And I'm so serious. This is how we do it ourselves. If you get under 70 for us on my scorecard, because ours is pretty strict, you're not closing that deal. I've seen it across hundreds of deals, my own close calls, my own, scoring of my own calls. So every time we hire a rep now, we send out a role play link. We use it for hiring and screening as well, which is a whole other topic. We watch them role play. We look at what they're good at, what they're bad at. Is this something that is coachable, or is this a skill gap that is not going to be solved? Proceed from there in making that hiring decision. Now, as far as ramping up, we just make them role play for hours a day until they are good enough where we think that we can put them on live calls and that will translate directly over. Because our role play is so realistic, it's the same thing. So I can go, oh, okay, this is our ICP, sales enablement, VP of sales. Here you go. You're gonna role play with these buyers that are cloned off of my real sales calls, and then I see how good they are. And now we don't waste leads. The only person that takes calls is the person that is actually ready to take calls. There is no wasted reps, there is no wasted leads, there is no burnt marketing dollars, and it costs us $55 or $100 a seat. It is a no-brainer. It is the most cost-effective and most intelligent, most efficient way to train and ramp up sales reps in the year 2026. And it is new technology, so sales teams are obviously catching up. Even this year, from the start of the year until now, our role play has gotten significantly insanely better as the actual AI tech itself gets better and starts to catch up. So anyway, that is the video. I hope this was valuable. If you guys want to try Kendo, you can try it for free in the description, or just go to kendo.ai. If you run a large sales team, you're a sales leader, maybe enablement or revenue leader or some sort, book a demo with us. You'll probably speak with me and we will show you exactly how to do exactly what I'm saying in this video. And it will be the best sales tech that you spend money on this year. I guarantee it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Have a wonderful day.